Welcome back. In the second half, we're going to talk about how to make a conclusion, an introduction, and then draft and revise. So let's start with our conclusion. So our conclusion has three parts. In this section, we're going to restate our thesis, summarize our evidence, and then create a call to action or point to ponder. So when we restate our thesis, we're going to say our thesis statement again by rewording it or reorganizing it. So instead of saying an unattractive object with special meaning is my husband's truck because it was a gift from his grandfather and it was his first car, I'm going to rephrase that. Because it was a gift from his grandfather and his first car, my husband's truck has special meaning despite its unattractive appearance. So here I flipped my sentence so my reasons why are first and my main idea is second. And I rephrased some parts of my main idea so it's not as repetitive. But it's still the same main idea and it's still the same supporting details. So take a moment to go into your outline and next to where it says restate thesis, go ahead and restate your thesis. Now that we've restated our thesis, we're now going to summarize our evidence. So for this step, we're going to create one or two sentences that summarize each of our body paragraphs. So take a moment to read this body paragraph I created as an example. After I reread it, I'm going to write one or two sentences that explains explains what this paragraph is about. So here's how I did that. For example, like many other people, my husband formed a strong bond with his truck when it was gifted to him by his grandfather. As a result, when he passed away, an indestructible connection was made between him and his truck. So now this beat-up, unattractive truck has an incredibly special meaning. So here I've wrapped up everything this paragraph was about in just 1 to 2 sentences. So I would come over here and I'd put that on my outline. Type that up on my outline. I'd then repeat the process with my second body paragraph and write 1 to 2 more sentences. So when you look at your summary of your evidence, you should have between 2 to 4 sentences here. Go ahead and pause to create your summary of your evidence. Fantastic. Now we're going to move on to our call to action or point to ponder. This is like your mic drop moment of your writing, okay? So a call to action is when you tell your reader to go do something with their information. Now that you have learned all the benefits of conserving water, go out and advocate for wastewater recycling. Or, based off the clearly stated evidence presented today, go forward and fight to save the bees. These examples are very much telling the reader to go do something now. A point to ponder is where you're going to leave your reader thinking, and not just thinking about anything, but really deep, thought-provoking stuff. So for example, if I were to say, now as you crawl into bed tonight, cozied up with your favorite blanket, remember the children who are going without warm blankets and clean clothes this winter season. That's really going to leave people thinking because if they're going to remember this later. They're going to be laying in bed later on and think about this again. It's something that's really making them dig deep to think. As you close out another day of school, ask yourself, what can I do to help all children receive a fair and equal education? So in this example, I'm doing a great job again of making the reader think deeply about my subject. I'm not just regurgitating back the prompt to them by asking them this question. I'm taking that question and making it even deeper and putting the reader directly into it. Okay? So if I wanted to do that for this prompt, here's what I could say. Therefore, the next time you see a beat-up truck with chipped paint and a big old dent in the side putting down the street, like my husband's truck, take a moment to think about the stories and memories that truck can hold. What special meaning does it have to its owner? So in this example, I have connected my object and main idea with something I want the reader to think about moving forward. It's deeper than just repeating the prompt's initial question back to the reader and asking something like, what's a special object to you? So go ahead, pause the video, and write your call to action or point to ponder. Welcome back. Now you should have an outline that looks like this. The hook and background are empty, but you have a thesis, full body paragraphs, and a full conclusion. So now we're ready to start planning our introduction. So let's go to the page with our notes for introductions. It says Content Planning CA1 Introduction. And we're going to talk about our hook and our background. So a hook is very important because it's where you're going to pull the reader in. This is now the first thing that they're going to read. You want to grab their attention from the very beginning. So a hook pulls the reader's attention into your writing just like a fish hook pulls a fish out of water. There's lots of different ways we can do that. Here's a few. You can use a quote, a startling statement, automatopoeia, which are like sound words like buzz, thump, boom, bang. You can write a narrative, which is like a story, dialogue, a conversation, statistics, using facts that use numbers, or I can write a description using figurative language and vivid details to make a picture. You'll notice that when you look at these 7 different types of strategies, a question is not on this list. We are moving past using the question as a hook and into more sophisticated hooks to elevate our writing. So here's some possible hooks I can create about my husband's truck. There's a common saying, don't judge a book by its cover. You've seen that before. Oh my goodness. All the way back up at the top of in the prompt, there is a common saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes state prompts like this give you a built-in hook. You can use this quote as your hook. You could use dialogue. So, for example, if I wanted to use dialogue, I could say, honey, why on earth do you really want to keep that thing? It's older than both of us. This is the start of a mind-changing conversation that would forever change the way I looked at unattractive objects that other people held on to. Or I could write a narrative, which is a little story. Sierra and I waited at the curb for our ride to show up. I remember being nervous about her seeing the tattered up truck my then boyfriend drove all the time. What would she think of him? What would she think of me? I heard the loud, supposed to be loud, not load, the loud clunking of the old stick shift coming from around the corner and knew that he was here. What I didn't understand, though, was why this old truck was so important. All right, take a moment to create your hook for this prompt on your outline. It's going to go right at the top of your outline. Now that you have your hook done, let's move on to your background information. Background information sounds kind of intimidating at first, but this is the part where you are providing your reader information about your topic. You can think of it almost in 2 parts. You're going to explain your hook because that's really pretty broad, and you want to narrow it down into your thesis statement. So explain your hook and introduce your topic in this part. So for example, I use the quote as my hook. I then need to explain what this quote means, why it's important, and what that has to do with my topic. So I could say, there are many times everyone is told not to make these rash types of decisions. We are told from early childhood all the way through adulthood that we must always be patient and wait to make assumptions about people. However, the same thing applies to objects we encounter. Behind every beat-up stuffed animal is a little girl who carried it with her through a hurricane shelter. Behind every tattered-up Bible is a grandmother who has taken the time to add the family members to the family tree and add birth and death dates for relatives. Everyone has an object in their life that seems important to many, oftentimes even unattractive. However, these objects hold special meaning. So look at this. In this first part, I explained what that quote means. I explained why it's important, and gave some more examples, some very broad general examples. And then I even went on to start narrowing my focus down into how I'm going to talk about one person's object and why it holds special meaning. So now I want you to take a moment, really think, take some time to really think about how you can explain your hook, provide details, and narrow the focus into your specific idea. Pause the video and come back when you're all done with this part. Welcome back. You should now have an outline that is completely filled out. Isn't this incredible? You've worked so hard, and now you have a completed outline. You're ready for the home stretch where we are going to draft, edit, and revise our writing. So, when we draft, finish line's approaching. Just keep reading. When we draft, sorry about that pause, I thought it stopped recording. So when we draft, we're going to turn our outline into a 4-paragraph essay. So you're going to have an introduction paragraph, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and a conclusion. So here's what this looks like on your outline. Underneath hook, where you have A, B, C, hook, background, thesis, all that's going to go together for your first paragraph. Then you'll start a new paragraph. Topic sentence 1, evidence and commentary, all together as one paragraph. Topic sentence 2, evidence, commentary, all together as your third paragraph. And then your last paragraph will be where you restate your thesis, summarize your evidence, and then have your call to action and point to ponder. So each section of your outline becomes a new paragraph. Let's practice with my completed outline. So when I make my introduction, I'm going to take my hook, my background, and my thesis and put them together as one paragraph. So when my hook stops, I'm not going to start a new line. I'm just going to put a space and then put my background. When that ends, I'm not going to put a space. I'm just going to put my thesis statement. You don't have to come up with any new ideas. You're taking all the ideas you planned out and putting them together. So this is what it looks like after you turn it into a paragraph. Notice that I did not press the enter button when I finished any of these parts. They flow directly into one another. So what I did is I removed all my outline headings like thesis statement and hook and introduction and background. I removed all those things. And I put the pieces one after the other. I do not go to a new line and start a new paragraph until I get to a new section of my outline. Here's a side-by-side comparison of my outline and my completed draft. So everything underneath thesis becomes one paragraph. No spaces, not hitting the enter button and starting a new paragraph, so enter twice. And then I put all my stuff for my first body paragraph together. So my topic sentence, my evidence, and my commentary, all together as one paragraph, not starting on a new line. I do the same thing with my second body paragraph, and then the same thing with my conclusion, not starting a new line until I get to the very end, removing all these headings. Okay? So as you can see, all the labels from the outline have been removed from my draft, and I've put all the pieces in each section together as one paragraph. After I finish the paragraph, I then hit the enter button and start a new one until I get to the very end. So now it's your turn. You're going to take your outline and you're going to copy and paste the pieces into a paragraph. So I'm going to take this whole section I'm going to copy it, come down here to my draft where it says type here. I'm going to paste it. But I need to get rid of those numbers and all this weird formatting. In this heading, get rid of that and put it in line with the other parts. All right, keep hitting the wrong buttons. Then I'm going to repeat that step down here. And now I have a whole paragraph, and I want to remove these highlights from when I was planning. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Now I'm going to hit enter twice to start a new paragraph, or I can just hit it once since it has a natural space in between. And then I'm going to get my first body paragraph. So from my topic sentence all the way down to the end of my commentary, come back down, and then format it so it's all together as one paragraph. I'm going to repeat that process again with my second body paragraph, being sure to make sure that I do not include any of the headings or numbers or letters that shouldn't be there that are just part of the outline. And then I do the same thing with my conclusion, starting where I restate my thesis. Getting rid of the numbers. Making sure there's a space after that period. And now I have drafted my essay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. So my last step is editing and revising. And for this essay, we're not going to go too in depth. We're going to do very simple editing and revising. We're going to read through each sentence of our essay, one sentence at a time, and eliminate any grammar mistakes we find. Make sure every sentence starts with a capital letter, has punctuation at the end, there are no misspelled words, no incorrectly used homophones, no text abbreviations, and make sure commas are in the correct locations. And then you're going to revise. You're going to read through your essay multiple times, nice and slow, to ensure that your writing flow is organized and easy to understand. Make sure it utilizes transition words and phrases to make sure that it flows smoothly and that you have strong word choice. When you are all done with your essay, for now, go ahead and save it and turn it in. Great job. This isn't the end of this essay because writing is a recursive process, so you will see it again, but you are all done for now. Great job, super proud.